Morning came slowly over the alien city. The streets, wet from last night's storm, reflected the dim sunlight in shimmering puddles. Lyra stretched, feeling the warmth of the workshop around her. She blinked and realized she hadn't felt this safe in a very long time. Marcus was already awake, working on a small drone. Its metal arms moved with precise motions, assembling delicate circuits and tiny parts. "Good morning," he said without looking up. "I thought you might like to help today." Lyra hesitated. She had never been trusted with tools or machines before. Most people assumed she was weak, useless. But something in Marcus's tone made her nod. "I'll try," she whispered. He handed her a simple task, sorting small components into trays. It seemed easy, but Lyra approached it with care, learning the patterns and shapes. She noticed how Marcus's eyes followed her work, encouraging her without interrupting. It felt strange to be trusted in this way, but it also felt right. Over the next few days, Lyra began helping more. Marcus taught her how to repair small devices, how to read energy flows, and even how to build simple machines from scraps. Her natural agility and sharp senses made her surprisingly good at it. Each success built her confidence, and with it, the walls she had built around her heart began to crumble. One evening, while they worked late, a loud crash echoed outside the workshop. Lyra froze. She recognized the sound, the local gang of scavengers who roamed the streets looking for easy targets. "They found us," Marcus said quietly, moving to the doorway. "Stay here. I'll handle it." Lyra's heart raced. She wanted to obey, to stay hidden, but her instincts told her she could help. She remembered the lessons Marcus had taught her and the skills she had developed over the past few days. Taking a deep breath, she followed him outside. The scavengers were young, aggressive aliens armed with makeshift weapons and a cruel curiosity. "This little workshop looks nice," one sneered. "Too bad it's ours now." Marcus stood tall, calm, and unafraid. "You'll have to take it from me," he said simply. Lyra moved silently behind him. Together, they set clever traps with wires and small energy fields Marcus had prepared. When the scavenger stepped inside, the traps activated. Small shocks, alarms, and sudden barriers. The gang shouted in surprise, stumbling back as Lyra and Marcus guided them toward the exit. For the first time, Lyra felt the thrill of standing up for herself. Her hands moved with precision, her body agile and alert. She wasn't just surviving anymore, she was protecting something she cared about. When the last scavenger ran away, Marcus turned to her. "You did well," he said, smiling. "I knew you could do it." Lyra's chest swelled with pride. She had never been praised for anything before. Her life had always been about hiding and surviving. Now she realized she could be brave and strong. She had a place, a purpose, and someone who believed in her. The days turned into weeks. Lyra began forming small friendships with a few other outcasts she had seen in the city, aliens rejected for being weak or different. With Marcus's guidance, she shared what she had learned. How to fix small machines, how to create safe spaces, how to protect themselves without violence. One day, Marcus became ill. He had overworked himself repairing damaged devices and neglected to rest. Lyra noticed his pale face and trembling hands. Fear gripped her. For the first time, she realized she couldn't just survive for herself. She needed to protect the human who had saved her. "I'll take care of you," she said firmly, her voice steady despite her fear. Marcus looked at her with surprise and gratitude. Lyra used everything she had learned from him and from her own instincts. She prepared warm meals, monitored his condition, and kept the workshop clean and safe. She even repaired some of his devices, making small adjustments that Marcus hadn't noticed. Slowly, he recovered. During this time, Lyra realized something important. She had found more than safety. She had found responsibility, trust, and even friendship. For the first time, she wanted to stay. Not just to survive, but to protect and care for someone who had shown her kindness. As Marcus regained strength, he encouraged her to keep learning. "You're capable of more than you know, Lyra," he said. "You have skills, intelligence, and courage. Don't waste them hiding in fear." Lyra nodded, feeling a warmth spread through her chest. For the first time, she believed in herself. She had come from the streets, desperate and alone, and now she was building something new, a life filled with purpose and hope. One afternoon, they worked on a small flying drone together. Marcus guided her hands, showing her how to adjust the tiny wings and energy cells. Lyra focused, her fingers moving with precision. The drone lifted into the air, hovering perfectly. She laughed. a sound she hadn't made in months. Marcus laughed too, sharing in her joy. "You see?" he said. "You can do amazing things when you trust yourself." Lyra smiled, realizing that trust went both ways. She trusted Marcus and he trusted her, and in that trust, she had found strength she didn't know she had. That evening, as the sun set over the city, Lyra stepped outside the workshop. The streets were still rough, still dangerous, but she no longer felt the same fear. She had learned to navigate the city, to survive with courage and intelligence. More than that, she had learned that she didn't have to face the world alone. Marcus joined her, carrying a small tray with food. They shared a quiet meal, watching the city glow under the fading light. "You've come a long way," he said. "I'm proud of you." Lyra felt a lump in her throat. She wanted to say more, but words seemed small compared to everything she felt. Instead, she nodded, her eyes reflecting the soft lights of the city. As night fell, Lyra returned to the workshop. She prepared for bed, feeling a sense of calm and purpose. She wasn't just surviving anymore. She was living. She had found hope, trust, and a reason to stay. Marcus watched her for a moment quietly. He knew she had grown stronger, braver, and wiser in the weeks they had spent together. His simple acts of kindness had sparked a transformation. Lyra, once desperate and alone, had become someone capable of creating her own path, someone who could face challenges with courage and intelligence. Before sleep claimed her, Lyra looked out the window. The city stretched before her, full of danger and uncertainty. But she no longer feared it. She had learned that even in the darkest places, light could shine through, the light of trust, friendship, and hope. And as she drifted to sleep, she knew that tomorrow would be another day to learn, grow, and protect the people and things she cared about. She had found her place not just in the workshop but in the world itself. Lyra was no longer homeless, desperate, or alone. She had found a reason to stay, a purpose to live, and the courage to face whatever the future might bring. And all of it had begun with a simple human who had seen her worth when no one else did. The night passed quietly. The city slept, unaware of the small but powerful change that had taken place. Lyra's life had shifted, forever altered by trust, courage, and the simple act of being given a chance. And in that chance, she had found more than survival. She had found a life worth living. The city was alive with lights, but to Lyra it felt empty. She moved silently through narrow streets, her small frame hunched against the cold wind. Everywhere she looked, there were others like her, or maybe worse. Alien faces with sharp eyes and cruel expressions passed her without a glance. She had no home, no family, and no one to trust. Life had taught her that kindness was rare, almost non-existent. Lyra's stomach growled as she searched for something to eat. Bits of leftover food lay scattered near abandoned stalls, but she always had to be careful. The city was patrolled by strict enforcers who punished those caught scavenging or trespassing. One wrong move, and she could end up in a detention center for weeks or worse. She ducked into an old alley, the walls cracked and covered in grime. Her small hands fumbled with a broken crate. Inside, she found a few moldy scraps, barely enough to fill her stomach. She ate quickly, ignoring the taste. Hunger was not new to her. It was just another part of the struggle she had learned to endure. The rain began softly, pattering against the metal rooftops above. Lyra ignored it at first, too focused on survival to care about getting wet. But soon the rain became heavier, turning the streets into slippery rivers. The wind cut through her thin jacket and she shivered violently. The city that never slept felt colder and crueler than ever. Lyra's small body searched for shelter. Abandoned buildings loomed on either side, their windows like empty eyes staring at her. She stepped into one, careful not to make noise. The floorboards creaked under her feet. Dust hung in the air and broken furniture lay scattered. It was far from safe, but it was better than standing in the rain. She curled up in a corner, hugging her knees, trying to stay warm. Hours passed. The storm grew worse. Thunder rumbled above and lightning flashed, illuminating the dark room. Lyra's thoughts drifted to the past, the times when she had a family, when she felt loved and safe. But those memories were distant, almost like dreams from someone else's life. She felt the loneliness settle deep into her bones. Then a soft light appeared at the doorway. Lyra froze. The figure was human, a stranger in this alien city. He moved confidently, carrying a small device that glowed softly, The light from the device seemed to part the darkness, creating a small circle of warmth around him. Lyra's heart raced. Humans were rare here, and most were either traders or explorers. She had never seen one this close. The man noticed her immediately. His eyes were calm, not judging, not suspicious. "Hey," he said gently, his voice carrying over the storm. "You shouldn't be out here alone." "It's dangerous." Lyra didn't move. Her mind screamed at her to run, but her body felt frozen. She had learned that strangers often brought trouble. Still, something about the human's voice made her pause. There was no malice in it. "I have some supplies," he continued, kneeling slightly to show her a small bag. "Food, dry clothes, a safe place to stay for the night. You don't have to do this alone." Lyra's instinct screamed at her to refuse. Trusting someone this easily could be dangerous. But she was cold, hungry, and exhausted. Her hope, fragile as it was, whispered that maybe, just maybe, this human could be different. Slowly, she stepped forward. Her wet hair clung to her face and her hands shook. The man smiled, not mockingly, but kindly. "It's okay," he said. "You're safe here." He led her to a small workshop tucked between two buildings. The door creaked as he opened it, revealing a modest interior filled with tools, spare parts, and small machines buzzing quietly. The warmth of the room hit Lyra instantly. It was unlike anything she had felt in weeks, a soft, inviting warmth that seemed to wrap around her like a blanket. "Sit here," the man said, offering a chair. Lyra hesitated, then lowered herself onto it. He handed her a dry set of clothes, and she changed quickly, feeling relief wash over her. Then came the food, a simple meal of bread, fruit, and a warm drink. Lyra's hands trembled as she ate. She hadn't felt this safe in a long time. The human introduced himself. "I'm Marcus," he said simply. "I came here to study the city, to learn how life survives in places like this. But I guess life has other plans too." Lyra looked at him, unsure of what to say. Words felt heavy in her mouth. "Lyra," she finally whispered. Marcus nodded. "It's nice to meet you, Lyra. You don't have to stay in the streets anymore tonight." She wanted to believe him. She wanted to feel hope, but her life had taught her to be careful. Why are you helping me?" she asked, her voice barely audible. "Because I can," Marcus said simply, "and because everyone deserves a chance. Even someone like you." Lyra blinked. Someone like her? She had always thought she was invisible, unimportant, but his words made her chest tighten in a strange, unfamiliar way. Maybe she wasn't as invisible as she thought. Hours passed. The storm outside raged, but inside the workshop there was quiet. Marcus worked on a small machine while Lyra watched, fascinated by the glowing circuits and moving parts. She had never seen anything like it before. Humans were clever, inventive, and kind in ways she didn't understand yet. As the night deepened, Lyra began to talk more. She told Marcus small things about the streets, the hunger, the cold. She didn't tell him everything. Her trust was cautious, fragile, but even that small sharing felt like a relief. She wasn't alone anymore. Marcus listened patiently, never interrupting, never judging. He asked questions sometimes, not to pry but to understand. His calm presence made her feel something she hadn't felt in a long time. Safety. By the time the storm slowed, Lyra realized she didn't want to leave. Not yet. Not when this warmth, this strange comfort was within reach. She curled up on a small cot Marcus had offered her, and for the first time in weeks she slept. But even as she drifted off, a part of her remained alert. The city was still dangerous, still unforgiving. She knew the streets would call her back eventually, but tonight she allowed herself to hope. Marcus watched her sleep for a moment, quietly and respectfully. He didn't interfere, didn't ask for anything in return. His simple act of kindness had already begun to change her world. Outside, the city continued its restless hum, unaware that a small act of human compassion had already made a difference. Lyra's life, once defined by loneliness and fear, had found a tiny spark of light, and in that spark, she felt the first thread of something stronger: trust, hope, and the possibility of a new beginning. The night passed quietly, and Lyra awoke to the soft morning light streaming through the workshop's windows. She stretched, feeling the warmth of the room, and realized something she hadn't dared to feel in a long time. She had a choice. She could return to the streets, to the struggle she knew so well, or she could stay, and perhaps find a new path with Marcus. Lyra looked at Marcus, who was tinkering with a small device, humming softly to himself. His eyes met hers and he smiled. "Good morning," he said. "I hope you slept well." I did," Lyra admitted, a small smile breaking across her face. "Thank you. You don't have to thank me," Marcus said. "You're safe here. That's all that matters." For the first time in her life, Lyra believed it. And as she prepared to face whatever came next, she realized that maybe, just maybe, being alone wasn't the only way to survive. Maybe with someone like Marcus she could actually live, and so the story of a human and an alien began. Not with grand battles or heroic missions, but with something far more powerful. Trust, compassion, and the courage to hope again.